says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving? Loretta, born Loretta Pleasant, August 1st, 1920 in Roanoke, Virginia. She, beautiful woman, went to the hospital, had some womanly issues, back then, being Black and poor, but just being Black meant that you weren't going to get the best health care. You just were not. You were not going to get the best health care. And so she went in, and within 20 to 24 hours, she did not make it. She did not make it. She died in 1951. But what was so profound about Henrietta Lacks, and this is why we know her name, and I learned about her reading a book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I did not know about her. Roberta Skloot wrote a book, and I was like, wow, this woman had immortal cells. So what had happened was the medical field discovered that her cells, even though she died, her cells could not. They did not. They were everlasting. And that allowed them to be able to discover things because they could use her cells to, like our vaccine. All the people like, oh, this vaccine, they just came up with it. No. Her cells, the HeLa cells for Henrietta Lacks, the HeLa cells were used to test to see whether or not the vaccine would work, and other things, HIV, AIDS treatment, leukemia, Parkinson's disease. So many advancements in medical science came because this woman, this Black woman, had cells that could not be killed, which says something about us. I think doctors discovered that. So her family living in abject poverty all of these years. And Henrietta Lacks herself, she was basically on a plantation. She lived, her great grandfather. Of course, she shared a room with her nine-year-old cousin and her future husband, a bunch of other relatives. She had children. I mean, she just lived in abject poverty. Her family lived in abject poverty. But you know who did not live in abject poverty? Thermo Fisher Scientific. The people that had her cells, and they were giving them all over the world. So China's paying for the cells, France is paying for the cells. Everybody that has any kind of medicine that they're studying paid for these cells. And Thermo Fisher, they generated about $35 billion annually off of the sale of Henrietta Lacks' cells. I just need to say that with my full chest. They didn't even want to settle with her family. They wanted the case thrown out because they said too much time had passed. But justice delayed is justice denied. And there was a settlement. We don't know how much. I know Benjamin Crump had something to do with it because I see him out here in the streets. 33% carried a one. Yeah, we don't know how much they settled for, but the family finally has gotten paid for all of this, the remaining family members. So I just wanted to start off the show with that. Welcome to the show. My brother, my partner in power. He always comes bringing and delivering greatness from a beautiful backyard. Let me welcome lawyer, Morehouse grad. I believe he's also a lobbyist. Not Morehouse? Not Morehouse?
No, ma'am.
Okay. That's the other one. That's Jared. I'm sorry. Where'd you go to school?
Love to Morehouse. I just employ Morehouse guys. I went to the Alabama A&M University.
Okay, that's just as good. Let me just say that Alabama A&M's on.
A little bit better.
No, it's the same. It's the same. He is St. Louis's own. STL is where he's from. The Lou, the one and only Don Calloway.
My dear sister.
Hello.
My dear sister. I was looking at an ESPN Instagram post from earlier this week. And they made this big deal about the incredible year that the University of Colorado is having in their football program. Their spring game was sold out, did astronomical numbers, merchandise sales off the charts. They're going back to the Big 12, our original conference, my conference of origin, and out of the Pac-12. And they've made all this money, and Instagram followers have jumped. And I thought about, gosh, all that value created for this, yes, state-based, but a state-based corporation, the state of Colorado, the University of Colorado, all this value created by one Black man. And when you think about Henrietta Lacks, imagine the value that one phenomenal Black man created for one institution, right? The university in the state of Colorado. you cannot put a value on the contributions that Henrietta Lacks's um, uh, uh, unpermissioned DNA gave to medical fields. 35 billion a year. That's incalculable in real
It
dollars
is.
in real time. So the value that one woman, one soul created for the entire universe of medical science is literally incalculable. It's from the body of one black woman. And if you think about that in the context of one college football team and the entirety of medical science, there's no universe that's exempt from having taken from black bodies, having profited off of black genius. And this is why reparations are due, because there's no universe in which there is debate, right? It's not possible to debate the contributions we've made, and it's not possible to calculate the wealth and the value created from individual black bodies having created value in billions for others. So yeah, shout out to Henrietta Lacks. I did not know her birthday was the first of the month. So get up, get up, get up. Time to cash your checks and get up.
You better say it, which is why we should not even have a discussion or an argument with anybody. If anyone comes to the table and they want to discuss why there should be no argument or discussion. You don't validate anyone's opinion in the opposite, because there's no validation for opposing reparations. This just Henrietta Lacks alone. Just say Henrietta Lacks and drop the mic and walk off. Like, we're not even gonna have a conversation. That's it. Henrietta Lacks is the answer to reparations, and then we leave the stage. That's how we do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's right. There's no, I mean, I'm done with debating folks whose discussion is based in our dehumanization, right? There's nothing to really, we can debate topics and we can debate moral valuations, but if your position is based in the devaluation, dehumanization, or oppression of anybody else, then you have no moral authority to access any of my or Sister Karen Hunter's time, right? And so I would suggest that the rebels are the same. We vibrate on a higher level. We think about things. Unfortunately, we're burdened with the curse of thinking about the world deeply for those of us on this show. And I would challenge you at work, at church, at your mosques, at your kids, gyms and camps. You ain't got to engage nobody just because you're the only black person they know. You ain't got to get into it with the local provocateur at your barbershop or beauty salon until they prove that they vibrating as higher as you. Because we don't have time to engage with people who have no real intention to engage on an honest level, and really only kind of want to sow seeds of discord and take your time away from the larger struggle. I'm kind of done debating and discussing this stuff with folks who ain't where we at in Karen's Rebels universe, right? We don't have to do that anymore, because their goal is to take our time, not to have substantive, qualitative debate that's moving the world forward. So that's why I love being here so much, because I ain't got to worry about thinking about, are you a old pirate? Yes, them rabbi, right? And the most important thing they can rob us, you can take a couple dollars, you can steal a pair of shoes or my car, but the most important thing that them pirates, yes, them rabbi, is our time, right? And we ain't got time to be putting into foolishness. I'm not saying we got to be nation building every second, but this time could be spent hugging my kids, right? And I ain't got time to put into something that's not for the edification of our people and the building of us all.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this with all honesty. I love you. I love me some Don Calloway. I promise y'all, and the love is not unconditional. It's not it is because of who he is. It's just not just because, y'all gotta love your children just because. I love this man with intention.
As she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you love is the one